they will be trying to fill the void, or rather the gap that is in their life. For instance, if a person had daddy issues, they will pick someone who will be replacing their dad for them to fill that void of not having a daddy. Or if a person had a mommy issue, if anyone shows them something contrary to what their mother showed them, maybe they are showing them attention and their mother didn't show them attention, maybe they are being friendly and the person is not used to people being friendly to them, they're gonna make a decision based on that broken version of themselves. And this might lead into many bad things, or rather consequences that might be difficult to undo. And the problem is, when kids now come in the picture, you're gonna pass down that brokenness, those traumas that you refuse to work on before you chose it. And the problem comes when the man is carrying traumas, the woman is carrying traumas, so you will be both bleeding on each other. And guess who is gonna suffer? The children and the people around you are the ones that are going to suffer. So she was saying that is the problem. It cannot be too late to work on yourself, but the sooner you do it, the better. What's up? I hope you're doing well. Welcome back to my channel if you're a returning subscriber and viewer. And if you're stumbling on this channel for the very first time, my name is Doris Bonitah and this is obviously my channel. We've been talking about the power of decision making, and today we are also going to talk about it. I've had quite a long day. It's late in the night, but I just said I have to make a video for you guys before I get to bed. So what we are gonna talk about today is gonna give you an insight of why you should actually make that decision to get on your healing journey. If you're ready like I'm ready, let's get to it. I'm gonna give you a little bit background story of how I got into this topic today, or this conversation that we're gonna have today, except that it's gonna be a one-way conversation because you guys are just gonna watch. But if you want to make it a two-way conversation, please engage me in the comment section. And if you don't want to go public on YouTube, feel free to reach out on my DM on Instagram at Doris Bonitah. Bonitah with an H, with the profile picture Jesus and an eagle on that. But just type Doris Bonitah with an H and it's gonna bring me. You're gonna see me. My account is not private, it is public, and it's intentionally public. All right, the background story is this. About 3 days ago, my host sister, who is basically my little sister or my daughter, turned 10 years. Yes, I wear different caps with them. But she turned 10 years, and it's been a roller coaster of emotions to all of us. You know, I came about almost 4 years ago in this land. She had just turned 6 years, and 3 days ago, which is 30th August, she literally turned 10 years. So this was a lot because I could see the hand of God and I was looking at her. So basically what happened is we organized a birthday lunch and we went for a family birthday lunch with her. On our way back home, she had been gifted by a friend a concert. So they went with a friend for the concert. So when I came back, I was coming back with her mother, who happens to be my host mom. But since she's not old, we tend to call each other sisters. So she's basically my big sister. We both prefer, seeing each other like sisters than like a mother and a daughter. So we were having these conversations, and they were pretty interesting conversations. And there's a statement she made that got me to reflect in my own life, and I'm gonna share that story as well. Like, on this channel, I use my own life as a practical case study to help you to know how to go about some things. Now, my experience is not a limitation on how your life should look like, but it can show you the different dimensions of how God does things, or how you can make better decisions, how you can improve yourself through learning from my own life and the life of other people. So we were having conversations, and one of the conversations was, I was asking her about her friends, and she was explaining to me, and then we somehow got to the courtship part. And this is the conversation that brought about people healing and people working on themselves to be a better version of themselves. Because I remember telling her about a person who was not pursuing the healing journey, even though God made it so clear. This person used to be my friend, and because of this very reason, we had to break up, we had to separate. And I was telling her, I had a conversation with the person, or rather the person texted me some time back, and I just realized why it is better that we stay apart, like why we can't be friends anymore. Because I noticed that the person hasn't healed, and their mindset is still the same the way it used to be, and I really felt sorry for the person. We're just having a conversation and saying how people cannot receive help. If a person is not receiving help, you can't really do much to help them. And then she mentioned something. She said the problem with the person not working on themselves as soon as possible is that if a person is desiring to start their own family, get married, and have their own kids, they're gonna make a decision based on the version that they are. So they will pick a person that will suit the version that they are at that moment, not knowing that this version that they are is not the best version of themselves, and it's the broken version of themselves. So the person is gonna pick another broken person. They will be trying to fill the void, or rather the gap that is in their life. For instance, if a person had daddy issues, they will pick someone who will be replacing their dad for them to fill that void of not having a daddy. Or if a person had a mommy issue, if anyone shows them something contrary to what their mother showed them, maybe they are showing them attention and their mother didn't show them attention, maybe they are being friendly and the person is not used to people being friendly to them, they're gonna make a decision based on that broken version of themselves. And this might lead into many bad things, or rather consequences that might be difficult to undo. And the problem is, when kids now come in the picture, you're gonna pass down that brokenness, those traumas that you refuse to work on before you chose it. And the problem comes when the man is carrying traumas, the woman is carrying traumas, so you will be both bleeding on each other. And guess who is gonna suffer? The children and the people around you are the ones that are going to suffer. So she was saying that is the problem. It cannot be too late to work on yourself, but the sooner you do it, the better. so that it will help you avoid making decisions that you might wish to regret. I hope you are clear until that point. And this statement was really dancing in my head, and I thought, yeah, this is actually very true, because if you looked at me even a year ago or some months ago, but let me say a year ago, or let me even go back a bit more and say 8 years ago, the person that I was different. Of course, the person that I was last year and the person that I am right now are different. And it has changed, a lot has changed in me so much that the relationships, not just romantic relationships, but friendships, there's an understanding that I have now that I didn't have last year. But let's use the 8-year version of myself. I used to be in love with a guy. The guy loved me, I loved the guy, and we were happy together. And at that moment, the knowledge that I was exposed to was that if you love me, I love you, we get along, we get married. But then I've come to learn that marriage is deeper than just me loving the person and the person loving me back. It has everything to do with purpose, assignments, you know, the assignments that are attached to your purpose, the calling. It has something to do with the children that you're going to get and how you're going to raise them. And the last video, I say that parents are like gods in the lives of their children, because you determine almost everything. If you have a parent who is negligent, that's how they ruin the life of their children. So it's such a huge responsibility that you don't want to joke about it. A lot of people are broken because of the homes they came from. But if the homes are healthy, if the parents are healthy, then they are going to give birth to healthy children, and they are going to teach them to be more healthy than they were. This is why no good parent should allow their children do the same mistakes that they did. You have to teach them to be better and become better. Guide them to be better and become better. Don't let the way you are raised determine, or rather the way you are raised, be carried forward, especially the things that were negative. For someone like me, I'm thankful because by God's grace, I was born in a good family and my parents did a wonderful job. And there are definitely some of the things that I am borrowing from my parents, even to raise these kids, even though they are not my biological children. But when I have my own biological children, I would have carried the things I've learned here as I took care of these children, the things that I saw my parents do, and there are so many things that I have learned so much. This is why I'm saying a good parent should not allow their children to make the same mistakes that they did. If they choose to make the same mistakes that you did, let it be that you told them and they chose to do it anyway, but not because they lacked information. Till there, I hope we are clear. This is a very important video, or rather a very important episode, and I pray that all of you will have understanding of what it really means. Start today. And by the way, the longer you stay with those traumas, the harder it becomes and the more painful it will be. So the moment you start noticing some habits in you, work on them. I was telling you a story. I loved this guy. He loved me. We got along very well. After a while, we broke up because I was now focusing on my relationship with the Lord, and I was asking the Lord about the person, and the Lord made it so clear to me that if I married the person, we will have a very beautiful marriage and it would work, and that they knew that we loved each other. The only problem is that we both would live a life less than what was written in heaven concerning us. Why? Because when we are together, we won't need to use faith a lot. But for the versions that God wrote in heaven, the things that God wrote in heaven concerning our lives, they will need faith. We will need to walk by faith for that version to come out. But when the two of us get married, we would not become that version that God wrote in heaven, that person that God created in heaven. Number two, we were not suitable for each other in terms of purpose. The calling over my life, he could not handle it. He was good for me as a person, as a lady, but not for the calling that God has on my life. So I've come to realize that marriage is more, and this is why the enemy fights it so bad, fights it so much, especially when two right people have found themselves. When it's a kingdom marriage, it is fought. The devil fights with everything that he has. He fights you. And so you have to be careful about it. So by this time, at that time, I was willing to get married, and it was the mercy of God that separated us, I would say. When he came sometime later, I would still marry him. And trust me, even after God told me, when I was now having to give a proper goodbye, like making peace with the fact that we can't be together, that it is over between us and it is over. It was painful. I never stopped loving him. He never stopped loving me. But destiny was calling, and I had to choose between him and destiny. And the knowledge that I was exposed to and the things that I knew, I was tempted to choose him. I won't even lie. I was tempted to choose him, but I knew so much. I knew so much about life, about marriage itself, that I knew choosing him would be a bad decision. Not because we didn't love each other, not because he was not a good man or he was not good for me, but because the version of me that had come out had a better understanding, and I knew that marriage was not just about loving each other, but it was about fulfilling the purpose of the kingdom of God. And that as a believer, you first marry for God, marry for kingdom, marry for assignment, and then love. This is why the Bible tells men, love the person you marry, not marry the person you love. If you end up marrying the person that you love, that's a plus for you, but it's usually about kingdom first. Look at the person who suits the purpose and the assignment that you have in the kingdom of God, because not everyone can be a president's wife or husband. Not everyone can be a pastor's husband or wife. Not everyone can be a politician's husband or wife. Or for wives, sometimes it is possible, but you need a secure man. There are a lot of things that you need to look into, and this person has to fit into what you've been called to do. And this is why it is important for you to know yourself, better yourself, do everything you can, do what is possible to expand the knowledge about yourself, get to know yourself, get to heal from stuff. Sometimes you will need to go to therapy. Sometimes you will need only faith. Sometimes you need both faith and therapy, and just getting to the root of the things that are going on for you to bring forth that improved version of yourself. So I thought about it, and at that time I would marry him because of that version that I was. I would have married right, but I would have limited myself. And this time I knew that if I married him, I would divorce him. I would try, maybe we would try have some years together, but I knew the end result would be divorce, because I would not be at peace not doing what I know I should be doing. And so I had to make the hard choice of letting him go. And he also had to make the hard choice of finally letting me go and just embracing what the future holds for both of us. So this is what happens, and these are hard decisions. They're not easy things. They're not easy decisions to make, but they are necessary decisions for life. Life is not just about happiness and all. It's about purpose. Why are you here? And you must make sure that you are selfish about your destiny. If anything is gonna stand in the way, it is not worth it. Remove that thing, whether it's a person or a thing. Remove it and go ahead. I hope we're clear. So this is to encourage you to work on yourself. Improve yourself, learn a lot of things. Nowadays you have the privilege of YouTube. Go on YouTube, learn about a lot of things. Learn about career, learn about women, learn about personality, learn about your biology, learn about yourself. As you hear these personality things and money, personality, conflict resolution, for instance, you get to know yourself and you start gauging yourself. How do I behave? How can I improve myself? Like that. And then you will be a healed version of yourself. And then you won't make a decision based on the unhealed version of you. And then when you start healing, when you've started improving, then you realize this person is lower than who I am, especially if the person is not willing to work together towards growing together and becoming better people. Then the person will be lesser than you, a lesser version of you, and then you end up divorcing, or you end up basically this. I'm just going to use the marriage example on this one. Then you end up divorcing with this person, and that comes with a lot of pain. So work on yourself now. Don't wait until it's too late or when the time is gone. All right? I hope that helps you, and see you on Friday. Bye.